One of my favorite feminist theories is Dorothy Smith's standpoint perspective. And I like it so much because when I learned about it in my undergraduate degree, taking a course on social theory as you are now, it was interesting because my professor, a white male, glossed over the importance of this theory and presented it in a way that led me to believe he didn't really think of it as a credible way to do research. And ironically, I ended up using Dorothy Smith's standpoint to defend my dissertation for my PhD. So it stuck with me from the undergraduate level, and I read about it, and the more I read about it, the more interest I had in it, and the more I understood exactly what it was that Dorothy Smith was trying to tell us. Now, Dorothy Smith is still alive. She's a contemporary feminist theorist, but she uses standpoint in two ways. It has been interpreted both as a theory and as a method, and I want to talk about the significance of both of these lines of thinking. So using standpoint as a theory, Dorothy Smith talks about the experience of those people who are subordinated in society. And she talks about the importance of being able to see things from the perspective of those people. In other words, situating ourselves in their point of view, their standpoint. Here, using standpoint as a theory, Smith has an interest in the structures of male domination, which is our macro level, and Smith also has an interest in the everyday experiences of people who live in a structure of male domination. And this is our micro level perspective. And in both of these, the macro and the micro, you can really see the foundation of feminist thought. Smith has an interest in what she calls the relations of ruling. From a macro level, this means that she has a concern with women and other minorities who aren't members of our dominant white male majority. When Smith talks about the relations of ruling, she's talking about a structural focus or emphasis on how our institutions in society are run by our white male majority and how this continues to serve to marginalize other groups. She talks about the relations of ruling in a gendered way, men and women. However, we can take her work with regard to standpoint as a theory, and we can understand the experiences of many groups in society by examining the relations of ruling. We can make connections to the work of W.E.B. Du Bois, one of our early American sociologists who put race on the table for the first time in any kind of significant way. W.E.B. Du Bois' concept of double consciousness can be related to the work of Smith. Smith does her work with regard to women. W.E.B. Du Bois does his work with regard to race. But these concepts are interrelated. W.E.B. Du Bois' concept of double consciousness explains to us that African Americans have been forced by the structure of society to kind of live in two different worlds. They have been required to assimilate to the white person's world, the majority, and they also still have a foot in their own cultural heritage, the roots of the black experience in America. So W.E.B. Du Bois was the first to coin this concept of double consciousness. Remember, as I've told you before, theory doesn't get built in a vacuum. Theory is always explored within a historical context. So Dorothy Smith, I'm sure, did her homework and read the work of W.E.B. Du Bois, and in reading about the concept of double consciousness, she must have been thinking, this sounds like the experiences of women I know. And she called this push of the theoretical envelope the bifurcated consciousness. She said that women are forced to live in a patriarchal structure and that this causes them to live a duality in their lives. They go out into the social world, into the public sphere, and they are required to fit into an already existing patriarchal structure, and when they don't, they are reprimanded. She said in their own worlds, in their own consciousness, their lives are not like this. They have different symbols, they have different verbal communication skills and techniques that they use. And so it causes women to have that same sort of dual experience, that double consciousness that W.E.B. DuBois used to describe the black experience in America. Now, as I said, standpoint is not just used as a theory, it is also used as a type of method for research. Smith encourages the use of standpoint as a method to be able to understand the points of views of other people. And what she says here really goes against those early sociological researchers who said that the researcher must stand apart from the research and be an objective observer and not have any influence on the research at all. Smith asserts that even being in the room with your research subjects is going to cause some influence. And so she says we need to use that to our advantage. We need to use this quote-unquote insider sociology as an advantage to understanding our research topic. Let me give you an example. My dissertation research was on child abuse caseworkers, and before I became a teacher, that is what I did. I was a child abuse investigator for the state of Florida, and so when I decided that I wanted that to be my research topic for my PhD, I had an insider's view to what those jobs were like. When I interviewed my research subjects, caseworkers, I could relate to them. When they would say things to me that outsiders may not understand, I had a point of view that allowed me to connect with them. And this, I feel, as would Dorothy Smith, really helped my research. I was able to report about this group, their feelings, their beliefs, and their attitudes about their jobs in a way that someone who had no experience in that type of profession would be able to do. And so for me, Dorothy Smith's standpoint as a method was invaluable to my research project. This, I believe, is one of those theories that also has a lot of practical use. This is the type of theory that you can tuck away in that toolbox that you're going to take through life with you that allows you, just like the sociological imagination, to get out of your own head and to try and see things from the perspective of others and use your intimate knowledge to enhance your understanding of situations. All right, I hope this helps. Take care.